The uniqueness of the CoMMpass study really comes down to the amount of data types that they're collecting that we're able to combine, and the rich molecular information that we're able to combine with clinical information. Because the more molecular information you can collect from a patient, the more specific and precise you can get down to understanding what treatments work and what type of cancer they have. So bringing to light all of that uniqueness through data that the CoMMpass study is accomplishing is very significant. The partnership between the MMRF and GNS is significant in that it's bringing together two very comprehensive companies that are very specialized in what they do. So the MMRF, they are bringing together this great data asset of the CoMMpass study. And to bring more value to that asset, they've brought in GNS Healthcare as a specific analytics arm that has very powerful causal machine learning platform to apply to the data and to bring out the unique insights of the data. We're currently analyzing the IA8 data, and we've built models from that. So we've been able to simulate and run experiments on the computer of these models. And we've been able to come up with many different analyses. So to give you a sampling of them, we've been able to recapitulate known biology. So there's a couple of pathways that are well known in the field and been published on for many years, such as the JAK-STAT pathway or NF-kappa B. And so by investigating those, which are both linked to apoptosis pathways of cells dying or not dying and continuing to grow and growing into this cancerous mass, we've been able to find that in the models. And not only in looking at this specific pathway, but then you can look at what's downstream and upstream and all around to identify new variables that can bring even more information to what's known. And then secondly, we've uncovered brand new things. So genes that have been studied in different diseases like cardiovascular or leukemia that have popped up as very important nodes in our models, and nodes being important variables that are connected to many different data types and data variables. And so it's been very fun and interesting to dig into these novel findings, because that's what's really going to progress the field to find new therapeutics and to be able to take back to the lab these things that we're finding in the computer models that, hey, it already makes sense in a known pathway, so let's believe what it's uncovering completely unbiased, and let's start to study that in the lab. So there's many ways that this machine learning approach can accelerate drug discovery, drug development, and identifying the right treatments for the right patients, and ultimately bringing into the clinic new therapies. And so one way is being able to use these models that are bringing together all of these data types to build a holistic model of multiple myeloma. And then you can identify back to the patient level of what is making up certain cohorts, certain subgroups. So there, for recruitment for clinical trials, for example, if you know a certain subtype or a certain response that patients have, and you have a therapeutic in mind for that population, you can immediately know if it will work or not work. And then that can be carried forward as a stratification biomarker, for example. From a patient perspective, being able to use these models is very valuable, because it's likely that there's another patient that's like them in the CoMMpass study. And so the CoMMpass study models can be used as a basis to mine and find matching patients or similar patients. And perhaps the patients in the CoMMpass data have different data that they've collected on them that has helped guide their treatment. So then that patient would know, oh, maybe I should get my genome profiled, or perhaps, this specific test I should do. Because if my doctors had that information and I could better understand my similarities and differences to what the CoMMpass study has already brought to light through the modeling, that would be beneficial for their care pathway. So a couple of new pathways that we found coming out of the IA8, or new findings, is to go beyond the well-understood translocation 414. That's a very big cohort of the population of multiple myeloma that leads to the overexpression of MMSET, or WHSC1. And that node came up as one of the most important out of the whole network model. So many edges were connected to it, and that brings insight of the variables that are downstream of MMSET. And we actually took a further look at removing the translocation patients to see if MMSET has importance in non-translocated patients. And it turned out to be very important. So there's a lot of value to continuing to study MMSET and what's downstream of it. And this model brought this new information up to the table.